determine a reasonable domain and range for the graphical model found for the obesity data. So here was our eyeball best fit line, and it appears to model the data reasonably well. So what we can determine from that is that it would seem that we could go a couple years beyond the data in either direction. So for our domain, we tend to think of our input values. Now our input values were from 2004 to 2008. So we might say, well, it might be reasonable to go 2 years in either direction. And this is somewhat arbitrary. There are no set guidelines for this, but we would be concerned about things called model breakdown. If for some reason the outputs, the y values, went into the negative range, or maybe above 100, since we're talking about percentages here, we would be concerned about model breakdown. But for this one, we might say that the domain, a reasonable domain, would be from 2 to 10, which we can also represent in interval notation as bracket 2, comma 10. Now for the range, we go with the output values from the domain. So when x was 2, our input value, when x was 2, our output value was about 23, and when x was 10, our output value was about 29. So our reasonable range would be 23 is less than or equal to y is less than or equal to 29, or again, in interval notation, bracket 23, comma 29, bracket.